Welcome, everyone. My name is Kanipa Makwa, Standing Bear, Soda Tribe, Fishing Lake First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 Territory, Anishinaabe. And welcome to my YouTube channel, Standing Bear, the author. And this is a teaching, Indigenous teaching, a Red Road teaching. I've been walking the Red Road for about 30 years with my elder, Tony Stonehawk. And, these kind of shorts, these shorter little teachings, they're just to kind of boost what we already kind of talk about. And it's We Are the Medicine Circle Facebook live group we have in the morning there, obviously on Facebook. And so we want to just kind of narrow the conversation down a little bit because in the morning we talk about so much. We talk about so many beautiful things, but there's a couple of things that we really need to focus on. And one of those teachings today we're going to talk about is love. What is love? Well, love is one of the seven sacred teachings. The seven sacred teachings are humility, truth, strength, respect, honesty, wisdom, and obviously love is involved with that too. So a couple preamble things that we talk about that Tony Stonehawk talked about all the time is, when we begin, if it doesn't begin with prayer, then it doesn't begin. Let us begin with spirit. If it doesn't begin with spirit, then it doesn't begin, right? Right. So it kind of changes the conversation a little bit from that colonial aspect, right? And the colonial idea of love is, I really have no idea, what they're really talking about. It's some sort of contractual agreement, agenda type thing. Like if a male goes up to a female and says, I love you, then there's some sort of agenda, there's an expectation there. And that's not what we're talking about here. We begin with the spirit. We always begin with the spirit. What is love? Often when I do my lives, when I speak anywhere across the world, I say, if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much. And that's simply meaning I want you to live a really good, beautiful, happy life connected to all those beautiful things. There's a beautiful world out there. Mother Earth is so beautiful, so vast, that if we lived 100 lifetimes, we could never see how rich and beautiful she really is. We only get to see a small portion of it, like if we live in the States, if we live in Europe or South America. Sometimes we do a little traveling. Some of us are well traveled, but yet we still haven't seen, but 2 or 3% of the entire beauty that's out there. And, kind of like, my story is how I was introduced to love. I can remember my elder grandfather, Tony Stonehawk, he would say, give me this bag of tobacco, and he said, go out there and pray to everything beautiful. And I didn't know what he was talking about. I really didn't. And I said, Tony, in the very beginning, 30 years, I've been doing this 30 years. So I said, Tony, at the very beginning, there's nothing beautiful out there. There's really isn't. I just, I was so caught up in being wounded, and I was acting out self-soothing behavior, just kind of like drinking and other things, very colorful past. Well, and as I started over the years progressing, we talked in an earlier video about doing the 30-day challenge. It's really introduced me, which is a prayer, which is a gratitude prayer. It opened me up to the spirit. So when I offer this to the world, when I offer this for thank you for life. Love begins with gratitude. Thank you for life. And so, there was a part of my life where I wasn't grateful for my life. I thought that I was a victim. There was abuse and trauma there, and I thought I would never get past it. But, the one thing that helped me get past it, opening prayer in the morning, gratitude for prayer in the morning, right? Just say thank, we talked about this in an earlier video. I said, well, if we don't begin with gratitude, then we don't really begin, right? And then things go sideways after that, right? You know, so we offer tobacco as a way to show our gratitude full circle. We want to live in this, we live in a beautiful world, that we live in a full circle. The seasons are circular, the days are circular. Everything we do is a sacred hoop, right? So we want to begin our day welcoming the ancestors back to sunrise. To say thank you for another day. Again, as I said in the other video, I felt like a lie in the beginning, but Grandfather Tony taught me just to do it. Kind of like, I don't really like fake it till you make it, because it sounds like, I really don't like that word fake, but that's really what I did. I just said, here, all right, well, here's my, tobacco, and I don't know what it's there for, but slowly over time, what happened was, he told me to face east. He told me to face new beginnings. We can begin over again. This is what love is. It's the ability to start over, to see things, to have that. Love is the ability to change perspectives. And my perspective was a wounded perspective, a traumatized perspective. And then when I started honoring the ancestors coming back, the new sun coming in, there was something different. I started to notice a little change. Every sunrise is a little different. Every sunrise is absolutely stunning and absolutely beautiful. And I would sit there, and it's the greatest show on earth, man. It really is. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this. Thank you for life. That's why we come here. I wasn't thankful for life when I got here. I really wasn't. That's the only, the first reason. That's why Indigenous people go to ceremonies. The first reason. There can be many reasons after that, but the first reason is always a celebration of life. And a celebration of life, also connection to that life. Just think about that for a second, connection to life. And really back then, 30 years ago, I wasn't really connected to too much, if really anything at all. I was trying to be connected to everything, but I failed miserably, right? I failed miserably. And so I can remember talking to Tony. I said, Tony, I don't know, it just not seemed to be working, like I would do the 30-day challenge, and I would I feel a little better for a little bit, right? But then I would quickly forget about it, love is about carrying these prayers. Love is about patience. I didn't know all this in the beginning. I thought it was just something that would come to me and stay with me, but really what love is, we have to put some skin in the game, right? And that colonial world, it doesn't really teach us how to do that, how to stay in the game, right? How to stay in this thing called life, right? Like, how do we offer life once we have life, right? I didn't know that. Like, I was at this place of survival. I really was. I was, blocking everybody and everything that wanted to bring me good, because I didn't know if you're going to bring me good or you're going to hurt me, right? That's just a survivor's mentality, right? Which became into a victim's mentality, which became into an entitlement, mentality, right? And these are all levels of healing that really prayer and love helped me push through. So now, 30 years later, I'm really grateful that I survived. I'm really grateful that I'm able to do this YouTube channel and able to help out as many people as I do. I'm a writer. I do a lot of traveling. These are aspects of a loving life. If you asked me 30 years ago what love was, it would be a lot different than today. So let's jump into it a little bit. What is love? And again, we've already established that what love is not from that colonial society. Again, that colonial society will separate us to death. It will divide us and border us, nationalize us, separate us to the left, right, liberal, Democrat, conservative, whatever that is, rich, poor, gay, whatever that is, they will separate us to death. And really, it keeps us from really connecting to those things that bring us life, that bring us life, and in the end, bring us love. Right. So what is love? So let's bring the medicine wheel into this. So the medicine wheel, one of the aspects of the medicine wheel is spiritual, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Those are the four basic quadrants of the medicine wheel. And we can talk a lot more about that later, what else it is. But we're just going to stick with these just four. So every quadrant has is assigned a spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. And so taking that and taking the medicine that the elders have offered us, let's begin with the spirit. So we always begin with the spirit. We always begin with the new day. We always open up with a prayer. These are not the preamble. It's kind of like the preamble. We have to set this up a little bit, right? Right. So what Tony Stonehawk did with me, he said, let's begin with gratitude. Let's begin gratitude for life. And really, in the beginning for me, it just felt like a lie, right? Because I was so abused and so this and so that. I just didn't feel anything. But you know what? I had nowhere else to go. There's a recovery book out there that says cornered at last, right? I was cornered at last. I had nowhere else to go. I've been institutionalized. I've been incarcerated. I've been all these things, right? And really colorful past, right? And so so this for me is where where it all started. What was okay? All right, grateful for love. I'm grateful for life. I'm grateful for another day, and then I watched that sunrise come up again. And every sunrise, it changed me a little bit. My perspective changed a little bit, right? I knew there was something good there. I didn't know what it was because, growing up, there was not a lot of love. And like nobody said, Wayne, I love you growing up, right? That's part of the reason why I say it so much. If you watch my Facebook Lives or, when I do a seminar, when I do it, when I talk anywhere, I say, one of the first things I say is, if nobody said that they love you today, I love you very much because I want to change what this world did to me, and I want to change that. People need to hear about what love really is. Love is a connection to all things beautiful. So when I tell you that I love you, it just simply means that I want you to live a really good, beautiful, rich life connected to all these beautiful things: the sunrise, the sunset, the rainstorm, changing of the seasons, the fall leaves, the kittens, the puppies, like everything. For every breath, that's really what we're getting, every heartbeat, right? Love is found in those little things, man, and without it, we can't see these things, So we begin with gratitude. Just thank you for love. And we begin with offering and gratitude. So let's jump into this. So we're talking about the 7 teachings here. I mentioned that about 5 minutes ago, 5 or 10 minutes ago. So the seven sacred teachings. That's what they call it. And again, the 7 sacred teachings: humility, truth, strength, respect, honesty, wisdom, and of course, love. When I teach the 7 sacred teachings, I don't begin with love. I don't, because that's not what Grandfather Tony did. Grandfather Tony begins everything with humility. Right? So when Grandfather Tony, and this is really beautiful, so when Grandfather Tony taught me to pray, and when it was not only gratitude, but it was humility. And again, these teachings are overlapped and intertwined. It looks exactly like this. This is a braid of sweetgrass. It is one of the 4 sacred herbs. So we have cedar, we have sage, we have tobacco, and then we have sweetgrass. So again, it's in the medicine wheel. It's in the 4 quadrants. Humility. How can we have love without humility? How can we love ourselves without humility? humility. And I'm not talking about humiliation. Humiliation is something different. They sound really similar, and probably if you don't do one, you'll get the other, and that's really my story. So I'd rather remain humble and have the capacity and the ability to say, I love you. The capacity and ability to be grateful. A price has to be paid. Love's not going to knock on the door and say, here I am. Now we're one. That's not the way it works. Again, one of the greatest lines in a recovery book says a price has to be paid. Right? We don't get this through photosynthesis by going outside. We connect to it, but we have to show up. We have to show up. We have to pray hard. We have to give thanks. Thank you to this day. And the beautiful thing is, once we give that gratitude, once we give that thanks, there's a little door that opens. And it really looks like that. It really just looks like that. It was, 30 years ago, I started offering these little things, and then I saw a little peak of something, right? I'm looking through there. I'm like, I don't know what's on the other side over there, but there's something there, right? And I didn't know what it was. I said, wow, there's something beautiful in there. That's what I said. I said, there's something beautiful in there. And I said, there's something that's, love is safe. Love is a place of safety, right? We don't talk about this enough. Love doesn't negotiate levels of safety. It's a safe place. Like the sunrise is a beautiful, safe place. When we offer that tobacco with gratitude and with gratitude, we get to see that, and again, that perspective shifts. So it goes like this, and then all of a sudden it goes like this, and we're like, oh my God, something beautiful is right there. Something powerful is right there. There's a connection there that wasn't there before. And when Grandfather Tony said, pray until you feel connected to it, and then pray harder. And that's what I do 30 years later, and it gets easier, and the perspective of beauty changes, and it doesn't change. The sunrise doesn't change. I change, right? Gratitude doesn't change. I change. When I offer tobacco, it doesn't change. I change. So it's the ability to show up every day and to do this on a continual basis, right? Let me tell you a little story. I'm a United States swimming national champion, 2-time national champion, and people ask me how I was able to do that, right? And like when this is 30 years ago. So going back there, I looked around. There was a lot of other more talented swimmers than me on race day. On race day, there was a lot of other talented swimmers, and even before, there were so many other more talented swimmers, right than me. That were just bigger, stronger, they're faster, But the thing is, they didn't show up. There's a discipline here, right? Love is discipline. Like if we think we're going to show up one day and just make one offering, and then think something magical is going to happen, then I would say just kind of rethink yourself, right? Rethink what you're doing. We have to be consistent. There's a place of dedication there. There's a place of discipline there, right? Like again, in a recovery book, they talk about cornered at last, and back 30 years ago, I was cornered at last. I didn't know what was good. I just didn't know. I was tired of getting beat up. I was tired of doing the same old, vicious cycle, just use your imagination. It just looked like that, like active addiction and all that, right? I just had enough, right? I just had enough until Grandfather Tony came up to me and basically said, try something different. And I said, you know what? I think I will. I think I will, and I think I'll show up, and I think I'll do this, right? Love is, like if we want to go where we've never been, we have to do the things that we've never done. Right? Right. To pray hard every day, the 30-day challenge. And so let's get back to these. Let's get back to these teachings here, shall we? And so love, love. Let's talk about humility, right? How can we have love without humility? How can we have love without respect? How can we love without the truth? And let's talk about this. What is our truth? Right? Some of us come from really heavy trauma and really heavy abuse, and we're trying to go to this place. We don't know how to get there. We're in these like codependent relationships, and we're trying to get there, and we just can't do it. We're doing some addictive behaviors and self-soothing behaviors and all this stuff. The fact is, when I was ready to grow and to find out, stop doing, what I was doing, I had to really take a look at myself, right? Knowing my truth. And really, my truth was that I was a scared little boy. I was a broken little boy that grew up to be a broken young man, right? Right. And the truth was I was so scared. I was so scared, and I was so scared of being rejected, and I was so scared. And I'm like, if you know me, you really wouldn't love me anyway, right? Because I come from the 60s group, and they took me, and they put me in orphanage, foster care, and then I was sold to a white American family, and it was just, I felt really unlovable. And the fact was, I really thought that, hey, look, at the end of the day, I might be really unlovable, and that I'll be alone and scared and broken for the rest of my life. That's what I really thought, right? But then a guy named, an elder named Grandfather Tony comes along and says, let's take this. Let's take this one step at a time. Let's take this one step at a time. Start. This is the first step. Right? Like if you're looking to find out what love is, this is the first step, right? If it begins with prayer, let it begin with prayer. If it begins with spirit, let it begin with spirit. Let us offer. Let's offer ourselves. Let's offer gratitude for the first time. Thank you for breath. Thank you for our life. Thank you for my family. Now, what can I offer? My life. What can I offer my family? What can I offer Mother Earth? Right? And the more we do that, our perspective changes. There's a melting of the ice. Then we find ourselves in this place of gratitude. Oh, good, okay. Okay, let's start with a little bit of gratitude. Okay, thank you. Okay, the humility comes in and say, well, okay, you've given me life, now how can I offer you something? Mother Earth, how can I offer you? What can I do for you because you offered me? That's a little humility. The truth is, okay, I'm broken. This is what happened to me. My truth is that I want to change and I don't know how. We can take a run at all these. We're gonna kind of keep it a little short. I'm trying to keep these under 10 minutes, and I just failed miserably. So I just try to do it. So, strength, wisdom, strength and courage. We have to talk about that too. It takes, discipline. We just talked about discipline. It takes discipline to do this every day, right? It takes great gentleness to be strong. Like say we miss a couple of days and we start over again. We can end our last breath. We can end our and then we can begin our new life with our next breath. That's what I meant to say. Honesty. Let's be honest with ourselves. Right? Let's be honest. And this is about us in relation to let's take Mother Earth. Right? Let's take Mother Earth. We can sit there and let's tell Mother Earth what's going on, right? What's going on? Later let's talk about getting into some sort of healing circle, a grandmother circle, a grandfather circle. That would be good too. But really, at the beginning of the day, we're talking about love in the very beginning of the day. Like, how do we do that? How do we start that? Well, really, that's what we do. And that's how we start. Love is connection to all things beautiful. Looking down that line, connection is to all things beautiful. We could live here 1,000 lifetimes, and we would only know a little bit. We would only understand sitting with, there's a story that I tell. I tell it almost everywhere I go because it's such a beautiful, powerful story. And we're going to wrap it up in a couple minutes, but it's just, I was sitting with this, in my morning meditation, just introducing myself to the day. I was playing the flute, I was making my offerings, and there was a relative that came down from Onion Lake a couple of weeks before, and he was about the heart medicine, and he was connecting all the hearts, and he had all this good medicine, and he came and left, and then I'm sitting there thinking like, yeah, well, I can understand, things have heart. What about those things that don't have heart? And I'm looking at that tree right there, a beautiful live oak tree, and I'm just looking at it like this. I'm like, huh. If I have a heart, your spirit, you have a life force, you have a flow, where's your heart, right? So I did what Grandfather taught me to do. If I don't know, I go directly there, and I ask, I said, so I would make this offering, where is your heart? Prayer is about patience. Prayer is about preparation. Prayer is understanding, discipline, and doing it. And keep on doing it. And prayer is about listening, right? Right. Listening not for anything, but just to this beautiful, beautiful live oak tree. And so, about 6 weeks later, there was discipline there, and I would make that offering every morning, and I would just kind of waiting, preparation. It's really about preparation. Love is about preparation. So then I heard it. I remember I was walking up to the tree, and I heard it, and I got tears running down my face. I said, I am all heart all the time. Because before I was thinking like, where is that the heart? Is it in the base of the trunk? Is it between the ground and the ground and the sky? And was had all these crazy ideas, but really, it was really that simple. The tree said, I am all heart all the time. I am all love all the time. So tears running down my face. I would go down to the bark, and I said, that's beautiful. I went down to the root system, and I could see, I am all heart all the time. And then I went up to the first little branch that came off, and said, that is also my heart all the time. And just tears running down. So this is a challenge that I make to you. Can we be all heart all the time? Can we be all love all the time? I think that's the end game right there. They just showed us a glimpse, a beautiful picture of what that love is supposed to be. We're supposed to be all heart, all love, all the time. That means compassion. That means all these beautiful things, right? That means all these beautiful things, that these things really are not just things anymore. There's connection and there's power. And, my sinking suspicion is that it's always been there. It's just, our humanism just kind of takes that perspective away, where we can actually put that perspective back, reminding us, Grandfather Tony always used to say that look, I'm not teaching you anything. I'm reminding you of everything, right? So we're just reminding you, we are part of Mother Earth. We are part of the tree. These teachings are already within us. They're not so out of grasp. They're not out in the cosmos, or what that place calls heaven, or anything like that. Their love is really found right here in our connection to all those beautiful things that Mother Earth has to offer. My name is Kanipa Whitmakwan. And if no one said that they love you today, I love you.